Hello and welcome back to the Popcorn for Dinner podcast. And welcome to the famously warm and friendly Leningrad. Today we are finally starting our weekly coverage of For All Mankind season 4. And what's an episode to started with? Spoiler alert, I really like this episode. Joining me today, making her return to the podcast, back from the dead and speaking fluent Russian, it's Angel.
Navigate dish. Hi guys.
Hi
Happy
Bob.
to be back.
Did you
Hi
just
Bob.
did you just bring that? Did you just roll that out? Like, I don't know if that was
I
actual
did.
Russian or
It
gibberish,
was
but
actual Russian.
fair
Can't
enough.
remember what show I stole that from, but it stays with me always.
Okay, fair enough.
Actually, it
I
was
did.
Phineas and Ferb. It was Phineas and Ferb. It was Phineas and Ferb.
Well, okay, that's good. That was an incredible call and response. I did not expect you to have Russian in your back pocket. So,
No, as soon as you started saying speaking fluent Russian, I was like, why would he set me up like this?
but you know what? You knocked it out of the park. You just knocked
Period.
it out. So that's.
You gotta stay ready.
How are you? Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you guys for having me back. I love you guys so, so much. Like, nobody's covering the real tea like y'all. So happy to be here.
Thank you. I mean, this is gonna be for you, myself, and like five other people because nobody's watching
No,
the
you
show.
know what? The obscurity of this show, we'll get into it.
Yeah, I guess we'll get okay. But speaking of the obscurity of this show, last week, friend of the pod, Ayo and I did a spoiler-free pitch basically for All Mankind, why it's the best show that no one is watching. So if you have
100%.
friends who are trying to watch the show, enjoy. If you're trying have friends you're trying to get to watch the show, send them that episode, maybe to convince them.
No, believe
Um,
me, I've been chanting the mantra and I will send them this link. Like,
yeah,
they must.
yeah. So we're trying to, and then obviously Angel's going to be back next week for episode 7. Hopefully, maybe 8 and 9. We'll see how that works. What else on the podcast? We're currently doing Slow Horses. Speaking of Apple TV Plus, the Apple TV Plus spy show with Gary Oldman, very good. Then their third season, 4 episodes are out. We've done 2 episodes because we're covering it um in batches of 2. So please check that out. What else are we're covering? We covered Invincible, the Return of Invincible season 2. That's on the podcast now. The first half of the season. Second half of the season comes out next year, and obviously we'll be covering that as well. We covered Gen V, we covered Loki. If you want to go as far back, we covered every one of the prestige shows that finished this year. Barry and Succession. So yeah, we've covered a lot of TV this year. So please check all of that out. Angel was with us to cover an episode of Ted Lasso. Was it 2 episodes? Was it just one episode?
I think it was
I think it was
one.
one. You were meant to do a second one,
Yeah.
but I think things
Yeah.
just didn't work out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of things going on. Please check out the feed for all the TV we covered this year. Just think of a show if you enjoyed it, probably check the feed. And
Oh, they got it on there. Trust me.
hopefully, yeah. And then I think I'm gonna push kind of like our end of year recaps to January. So we'll do things like my top 10 and recommendation episodes. We have some fun ideas that we want to play around with in January. Okay. For All Mankind. Let me start with the obvious question, Angel. Why do you like the show?
Okay. There's so many things I like about the show. One, the budget. I'll start there. Apple does not spare a dime when it comes to how they make the shit believable. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
fully believe if I did not know what happened in the real world, hey, I would have believed we went to Mars. I actually went to Google it. I was like, did we make it to Mars? Only to see that we have barely stabilized on the moon. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
the budget is big. The characters are so complex. And I love that it tells it generationally, like over time, because
Mm-hmm.
really nobody wants to be seeing the intricacies that will happen next year, 2 years. Like, I want to see how their lives progress. And I feel like their relationships are so, so important and deep. And it's just beautiful. The themes are insane. The women are top, 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 top form. I love anything that women are represented accurately with all their complexities, all their good, their bad, the ugly, all of it. So there's much to love, truly.
That's yeah. I mean, I think it was when we recommended shows last year. We recommended For All Mankind because that's when Ayo and I were just like getting into it. We had binged the first 3 seasons. Um, we mentioned then that we had heard about the show, but we just never like. I I don't mind sci-fi, but I'm not someone that is like, oh, sci-fi, sign me up if that makes sense. Like there are some genres that like once it's there, I'm watching it. But
Yeah.
sci-fi is not really one of them. But I like obviously love a good sci-fi show. Speaking of Apple TV again, something like Severance, like
or
Um,
foundation.
I never actually watched. Again, it's the same thing. Like I until people say like now enough people have said foundation, so maybe I might actually check it out
No,
this
the thing is,
Christmas break.
there's levels to sci-fi. You see, for all mankind is like semi-realistic sci-fi. Foundation
Yeah,
is like what on a different
I feel
planet,
weird
different
calling it.
Earth.
I feel weird calling it sci-fi because but it
Yeah,
has science and
it is
it is
science and
fiction.
it's fiction. It is sci-fi. You're 100%
But like there are
correct.
no aliens. There are no like.
It feels like a drama. It really feels
Yeah,
like drama.
it is. I think maybe it was A or maybe it was in our conversation. It's like it's a workplace drama for most parts, or a
100%.
family drama, or a relationship
It
drama, just
is.
like it happens
It
in
is
space.
both. It is
Yeah.
both.
Uh. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Well, let me just go straight into. I really like the show. I think it's the best show that nobody's watching. Um.
And I'm just going
But
to say I've actually been watching it since season one. Like
oh,
I was watching the first
really?
season as the episodes. No, honestly, at that time, like I'm a bingeaholic child, and at that time I was like, let me see what Apple has to give me other than what they were giving. And For
Mm-hmm.
All My Kind was hitting. I'm telling you, you watch the first season of For All My Kind. I can't imagine you not continuing the show. Like genuinely, there's no possible way you won't continue. And then I kind of fell off like after season two. Like I literally just binged season three and caught up season four, not because the episodes weren't great, just like when I watch it, I want to pay all my attention to it. Like it
Yeah.
requires my focus because I want to hear everything, I want to see everything. And I feel like also in binge culture, I just enjoy watching things as a catalog sometimes. And I think For All Mankind is one of those shows you really enjoy where you like see the full story play out. Even with you,
Mm-hmm.
but like seeing the full story play out really just it feels like home, really.
Yeah. I'm very rarely a pro binge person. I mean, I think some shows benefit from from binging definitely, but rarely will I be like, oh, you should wait and binge the show. But maybe
Yeah.
because I basically binged the first three seasons, so
Yeah.
like it has this proposal, and it's weird because it's a 60 minutes show.
It's not short to hour and a
Yeah,
half for some of them.
I was like, how am I just running through these episodes? But yeah, like again, I think maybe it was the last episode I mentioned about how like in season one, you feel it's the ratio where you feel it take a step within the first season. Like in the middle of the season, it goes from like a seven to a nine. You feel it make that
Literally,
that
it
usually
raises
happens
the
between
stakes like
seasons.
insanely.
Mhm.
And
Okay, let's because we don't have much time. Before
yeah.
we go into episode six, is there anything from the first five episodes that you want to like touch on before we go into episode six?
From the first five episodes, you know what? I love that this season, like, they've explored getting this, going to the moon, going to Mars, and now they're
Mhm.
exploring the parallels of what's actually happening on these planets. Like, yeah, we've seen how we got there, all the struggles, but now that we're there, like, what are they doing? And I just
Mm.
love that they've been showing the disparity between how the people we've been following, the elite, are treated, and how the actual workers who are mining the shit that they're taking back to Earth and doing all the menial jobs are treated. Like, there's no difference between Earth and what's happening on the base. And I just love how they're also showing like in episode four, like the misguided justice, right? Of her being sent back because
Mhm.
the people at the base felt like, oh, she was one of the elites. Mind you, the person that they were trying to protect that was injured is actually one of the elites. So now this baby
Oh.
is going to go back, pay for her crimes, and they're like feeling justified that yeah, justice was done. Like you can really tell, like she made that decision because of what she said to her. She was like, that was like the final. She didn't want to send her back, but she was like, I have to send her back because it's true. She's also like that. That was also a person. This, that. But that
Hmm.
decision was fueled by elitism thinking. Like, if it doesn't play out, if she finds out at the end of the day, like the one that was stabbed, the worker, quote unquote, his family has ties to the oligarchy, she's gonna be like, hmm,
Yeah, but I guess realistically, there was no way Danielle could not. I think the compromise they reached was the smartest thing of sending to India. There's really no way you can hold a Russian citizen from going back if Russia says we want our
girl,
citizen
come
back.
and kill me. I'm
I
irrational, I'll
don't
say,
think they
yeah,
want.
but
I think everybody's
realistically,
trying to
I'm
avoid a war on
politically,
Mars.
yeah, they're trying to avoid getting back into their conflict era. But it's just like I like that they're exploring those
Hmm.
like complex
Yeah.
like conflicts.
I think. I think we're going to get back to that when we get into episode six. Definitely. For me, just quickly, I miss Ellen a lot.
Oh,
I bring back my president. I like. I did. I'm like, this is quite annoying that we haven't seen her so far. I understand. Obviously, it makes sense how Jodie Balfour got so much time to shoot Ted Lasso. Um,
exactly.
but yeah, we need. Obviously, she's married now and she's living on a ranch somewhere. But we do. I
And
need to
that's
see
another
Ellen again.
thing. I love she got a happy ending. Like there's been so much like sadness on this show. And
Mm,
Ellen really was not, she's not somebody you think would make it, like, through all the bullshit. Like, and just to see her win and win so much and win so well, like, it's okay if they don't show her. Let her
yeah.
live her happy life.
Well, I
She's
still
happy.
maintain that that's the best. Well, before obviously she got remarried, I maintain that was the best marriage on TV.
100%.
Obviously, until
Fantastic. A
until
real
he went to sleep
partnership.
with a guy and
Like, he really could not keep
his
men,
aide.
at the end of
Yeah,
the day.
that's fair. Um, okay, so this would lead us into I think the episode 6 discussion. But a point I had before even watching this episode was that this is the worst version of Ed Baldwin we've ever got.
Stop. Why were my first notes? I'm so happy that they took Ed off being EXO. Like, that man needs to go home, and I mean Earth.
I think I've hated Ed from like the first episode this season. It's like
Honestly,
I'm just like this is this is a Hall of Shame performance from Ed Baldwin. I was like, oh my god.
this is his villain arc. Like, you say you live long enough to become a villain. That's it, man. What do you mean you haven't been back home in 8 years? Are you fucking kidding
So
me?
speaking of that, I might have misheard this, but I think Kelly, when obviously in episode 6, when she
Mm.
does the video call or whatever, I think she says like her son is excited to see him, like to meet him for the first time.
Yeah.
Which means like I didn't think he had not been back, which I guess makes sense. I just thought maybe he had been back for like
He
two
has
days and
not
went
been
back to
back
Mars. So he
since
came back
his
with the
wife
rest of
done
them and then just
laid.
went straight off once she probably once she gave birth.
Period. That's the she was
Jesus.
given. Like, and he's not been back since. Like, which is a little ridiculous to me. But you know what? Is grief. He's coping. But like, what
Yeah.
that
I
has
mean,
turned him into now is just so embarrassing. Like, I'm ashamed. Like, look at you at damn 70. Like, oh my God, embarrassing.
like you understand why he's done it, but like it's also like you can't. I mean, not you can't judge how somebody grieves, but like you can't be like, oh,
Like, he
I'm
didn't have to do this.
grieving Karen so much that I'm not going to take care of my daughter and grandson. Like,
Like, you've never met
man,
your grandson, for
go
God's
back
sake,
for
and that
three
child was
months.
almost not born. That child was almost not born. I don't think the child almost didn't live. Your
Oh
daughter
man.
almost didn't live, and you're like, yeah, it's fair.
But yeah, there's just so many things. Like even when he dresses down Miles and is like,
Ah,
and even when he says to Danielle that like they should be happy they're here, it's just a lot of boomer speech and you're like, ugh,
you're
ugh.
literally seeing the white old semi-republican man in him.
Mm-hmm.
You really do. Even like, as we're getting to episode 6, I guess we can jump in since we're talking about it.
Yeah,
This full, I'm helping the poor, the put down propaganda, giving them the true tea about what's going on. It's a lie. He just wants to cause chaos because they've taken him off command.
100%, 100%. I have that in my notes that like he's obviously doing this to spite both Helios and Danny, and
And I'm like, at what
I
point
wonder
is it
if
enough?
maybe he might do enough good that it sits well for me. Do you get what I mean? Obviously,
Yeah,
it's quite transparent what he's like. Sam even calls it out. Actually, before we go into all
100%.
of that, so this episode 6 is titled Leningrad, and it is written by Eric W. Phillips and directed by Sylvian White. Um, through a very quick Google of that name and the city Leningrad, you realize that that was previously Saint Petersburg. It became Saint Petersburg like 6 or 7 months, I think, before the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. So obviously, one thing we know through this space race is that because of the USSR's continued dominance in the space, the moon and Mars race, the USSR has not collapsed. And we're in 2002, over 10 years after it collapsed in the real world, and they're not going anywhere. Um, this is the episode I've been waiting for. I've been like not down on the season, definitely not. But I was like, okay, when is the like? I didn't have the ginger
Where's
I
the
had
thrill?
from previous
Yeah.
seasons, but this episode really, really, really brought it home for me. But let's start with where you left off, with Ed and Sam. So what we find out, just quick recap of this storyline, we find out that Ed has always known about Ilya's bar and his smuggling business, which I think makes sense to me. Like I'm happy about that. It would have been a bit far fetched and stupid
Yeah,
if like
he
nobody
even
knew.
existed. Like, can we be real?
Yeah, so like it makes sense that like Ed knows just like I like as long as they're not hurting anybody, let them have their fun.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, and Ed is at the bar, he gets drunk, and then the next day he finds out about Helios's new payment structure, and he decides to use this to incentivize the workers to unionize and strike. obviously we've shared our thoughts on this, and it's quite transparent why he's doing this. But hopefully, not even
Their
hopefully, I want to
union
see. Well, Ed has to die this season, right?
has to. I mean, if they accelerate at the pace that they usually do, 100%.
Like
I'm sorry, I need to see
he's not
his
going to die
burial.
off screen. Ed Baldwin is not
No,
going
he
to die
has to
like
die. He
between
has to be
seasons.
buried. He has to be
Yeah,
buried. Like they wouldn't do that.
they wouldn't kill him off like between seasons. But at the same time, I don't think they're
Mm-mm.
going to put Joe Kinnaman in 90-year-old man makeup.
No, no. It's
So,
giving his towards his end. You know how we always talk about, a dead man's speech. This is his
hmm
dead man performance.
yeah.
He's on his way out. So he's acting now. When an animal is about to die, they just start doing anyhow. This is his
I mean, because
anyhow
I thought he was
moment.
going to die. I thought he was going to die in that whole Kelly mission.
Same. I thought when he
So
crashed, he would die, and he
when
didn't.
it
And I was really like, oh my God.
like he's fucking Superman, man. He's just he doesn't.
Literally, I was like, you are baddie, Ed. I know you're
Um,
sad that you were not the first, but come on.
yeah, and it's like this is the thing. This is the first time I've always fallen into my like go America, go kind of
Like rooting for
vibe
him.
for Ed Baldwin.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mentioned again because A is the person I know that watches this show. And we everyone's talk about it with each other, and I once mentioned I was like, I think this show is propaganda.
It's
I think I think this show is propaganda for astronauts as police,
for
and
America. I'm like,
yeah,
what
and
is
I'm like,
going
and I'm
on?
cheering, and I'm like, go
I'm
go,
here
and it's
for it. I'm
so
like, I want them to win. I'm like in tears when they lose. Like, what is going
so this is
on?
the first time I've actually been anti Ed Baldwin. I'm just like, can we be fucking for real? Can you
And
grow
that's
up, Ed
such
Ed
an
Baldwin?
intentional theme because it's right from the start of the season. It starts like it's not like,
hmm
oh, they let us in though. From season 4, episode 1, Ed was on some shit. I'm like, Jesus, who is this
Uh,
man?
yeah, but I listened to some people who I had to find people that actually watch the show and listen to them, and I think I can hear one of them like he doesn't want to accept that Ed is in his villain era because I can hear him struggling with it. Like he says, "Oh, I don't like what Ed did to Danielle," but at the same time, like he's not going full on, and I'm like, "Oh, like
You're
because
like, you're saying he
he,
could be worse.
yeah, I think because like obviously I'm saying like I'm full go America go, but I think he's obviously an American, and I'm sure he's
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he's prejudiced in any way. I'm sure he's very enlightened, but he's also like he wants to believe in that American spirit. And Ed Baldwin has been
Yeah,
the true American hero for 3 seasons, 30
100%.
years. So now he's like
100%.
he's almost like he's fighting with this realization that maybe Ed Baldwin might be in his villain era. I'm
100%.
curious to see how his storyline ends. But anyway, but importantly, the workers after finding out the new payment structure decided they want to unionize and possibly strike.
So happy for them.
So we are very obviously very pro unions and pro workers on
Yes,
this podcast.
please. Yes,
So
please.
I am happy that this is where the storyline went because I was very afraid that it was going to go somewhere darker.
I thought it was going so sideways, child.
The way
It's
Sam
giving
was
cool.
talking, I was like, is she
Yeah,
going to
it
throw a
was.
bomb? Is she going
That's
to do
what I'm saying. Like
terrorism?
it was giving cool. Like we go
I
take
was
over
like,
the base and go gratatata. And I was like, baby, I understand, but it's not their fault.
the way
They
she was
are
talking, I was
because
like, are we going to see terrorism on Mars? Like,
Val
I'm
is
so
an
happy that she just
extremist.
went for
A white
unionizing.
a white and calm face. That's what Sam is. She's an extremist, but she looks so sweet saying it. And
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh my
hmm
god, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, girl, you're being hella extra right now. I understand the anger. But like her anger is a little bit like I wouldn't even say misguided. She's just real fucking tight because her bestie died.
Yeah, I
Or
bet
would I
that
even
nobody's
say
acknowledging it.
her lover? I don't even know what to call it really because it's
No,
giving
I think
more.
that, well, I mean, no, because he said he has the family, but I mean, not
Yeah,
that that
child
stopped
doesn't mean she
anybody.
could not have had
Yeah,
unrequited love. Mm,
fair. But I think definitely, and I think it's also the fact that like nobody's recognizing that he died. Everybody just talks
exactly.
about coups.
Because so
So,
real.
hmm
And you see from our perspective, because we've grown with coups, we've
hmm
seen everything come together. We felt that loss. We didn't even I didn't care about the other guy to be fair.
hmm
Like I forgot he died till she mentioned him.
same,
I
yeah,
won't lie. I wish she said I was like, oof, damn, she kinda checked me there,
yeah.
but
Like, oh, yeah, that's you're talking to us as well, innit? But yeah, so I'm happy that at least she's just going into the strike route, which is interesting. 'Cause obviously, we know Dev is on his way to Mars,
yeah.
so I wanted to see how that would
But
come
he
into
won't
play.
get there in time because they need to start production real soon. And they're going to
True.
have to start like give into their demands. I don't see any other way this is going to go for them.
Hmm.
Like if we think about it logically, what's the best possible way to avoid conflict and to get shit moving?
Hey
Pay them
man,
what they
look,
want.
we all said this 5 months ago when the writers and actors strike started, and then it took us 5 months for them to get good deals. So like, we never
Oh,
know.
you didn't lie.
where in the UK the train strikes have been going on for like a year. Like companies always find a way, man. We can
Ooh.
there's no we can't actually predict anything. But yeah, so that is kind of let's move on to Miles because
Milosh,
Miles
as
and
I'm calling
Ilya.
him from now on, because fuck that man.
Wait, wait, you're calling him what?
Milosh, because
Milosh.
that's what Ilya
Yeah,
calls
yeah,
him.
yeah.
It's Milosh, because I don't know
So
who that man is.
what are your thoughts on the character of Milosh and his plotline so far this season?
I feel like I was really empathetic towards his plot line and his struggle because, like I said, they've been doing a good job of giving the parallels. Where they're showing
Mm-hmm.
us Ed and his great life, they're showing us Milos and all the hustle and why he's taking this job, and the fact that they've lied to him, the contracts are lies, everything is just not what he expected, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gets there, trying to figure out a way to make things work, and he finally gets in with Ilya, and I'm like, okay, good. He's making good bread for his family. Things are working out for him, though it's not what he expected, but at least this isn't taking him to a dark place. Only for, you know what, greed might be man's biggest enemy. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what to say. It really might be man's biggest enemy because there's nothing that was really stopping him from continuing his working relationship with Ilya, making the money he can make. And even with this new Mars thing coming, like they're still going to get money regardless. But the heart of man is not strong. It's not
Yeah.
strong at all. And I feel like that's why I decided at the end of this episode, like I'm going to be calling him Milosh from now on because like I just can't believe what he did or what he's done. Like I don't know, can we spoil? I don't want to spoil it for the
Oh
people.
no, yeah, well we can spoil. Anyone that's listened to
Okay,
this has
yeah.
hopefully watched the episode.
I feel like that coup was literally so fucking wrong because not only is he playing Ilya, he's playing the Korean guy too. He's playing
Mm-hmm.
everybody. And
Mm-hmm.
this is setting him up for like a death that's going to be, I hope, grand. I just can't hope grand. I don't know what to say because the way he's treating them, it's absolutely unnecessary. Especially Ilya. Like, what did Ilya do to you? Really, he just cut you off. Like, you could have found your own route. You know the business, but you
Yeah, I
decided to
mean,
take his.
yeah, because I think the first time I watched it, I was like, do I buy this? Is this too quick a jump? But then I was like, actually, no, because he's shown us that he's
He's had this character from the start.
yeah, the best version we can use is ambitious. The worst version is as you said, greedy. Like even literally when he goes to find the rocks, the last episode, he has so
Exactly,
many rocks in his bag, but he's still like literally
and he
stretching
almost dies.
for the one out of
Can
reach,
you?
isn't he?
Can you? Like literally greed.
So, but also like, I mean, he's a man who is desperate and like I'm not
Yeah.
obviously I'm not
I was about to say, but if we justify his desperation, right? It's like he did not have to do that. He could have convinced Ilya. If Ilya's like, okay, let's not convince him. See, like these are the returns. He could have worked
mhm,
on it. And if Ilya's like, no, he could have found his own way. Like taking a business from a man like that had to do this from like he's been where you are. He used to be you. And he
mhm,
got this working to a point where he's like, he can even help people. He brought you in. He brought you in and this is how you
yeah.
treat him. I just don't feel like stepping on other people is the way to get where you
Oh,
want
I'm
to.
100 like the
100.
moment he brings this rock idea and Ilya says no, I've watched enough shows like this. I'm like, this is gonna be the downfall. This is this
Of
is it. This is
course, this is
this is
going to
how it
deteriorate the
starts.
relationship 100%.
Um I mean, speaking of a man that is truly in his villain era, that's Milosh.
That's 100%. Like, and
So
you see the parallels continue.
mhm. I mean, very intrigued. I mean, before this episode, I had some notes down before I watched this episode because I was like, unless I'm forgetting somebody, I feel like Milosh or Miles is the first. First of all, I think he's the first new character we've got that is not connected to
To
any of
any
our
of them,
season one characters.
100%. He's completely new.
And then his storyline is the first storyline I think in the history of this show, apart from maybe like Ellen's story, but that doesn't even count. That like
Mm-mm.
is independent on
Yep.
just on its own. It has nothing to do with the space
It's
program.
happening. It's literally happening parallelly. Like, genuinely, they came to this season with with fresh eyes, and it was
Mhm.
Miles's eyes. We are seeing
And I
it
don't know. I
through his
think that
eyes.
took me a second to like fully get on board with.
Oh, 100%. Because I was like, what am I what's happening right now? I'm like,
Yeah,
who's this man? Like, what?
yeah.
Because the first episode starts with like about like 15, 20 minutes of his life. I'm like, hello.
Like, why should I care?
I was like, who is this?
And I think obviously because I know Toby Kebbell, the actor. I mean, I don't think I've seen. Maybe I saw him in one of the best Black Mirror episodes ever. Entire history of you. Do you watch
I
Black
don't
Mirror?
I've not watched all the episodes. I take my time.
Okay,
like
entire
one
show
a
is I
year.
think that's season one. Season is early,
Oh,
and it's
season one,
written
then I
by
probably watched it.
it's the one where you can see your life, like you can play back your life.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Have you seen
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. Yes.
Written by future Emmy winner Jesse Armstrong, creator of
Of
Succession.
period. Thank you so much.
So yeah, so I knew him from that, but I hadn't really seen him in many things since then. But I think just because of that, because I knew him and I knew his name, I was able to maybe at least attach
Yeah,
some
like
of
let me
it to
give it a
the
chance. Yeah,
exactly. It was this completely new person I did not know. I think I'd have checked out a long time ago. But I like the evolution. I mean, who doesn't like a
a villain
cartel
arc.
drama?
Exactly. No, that's stop. This is literally a cartel drama. The crew fighting the boss,
And it
Milosh and
is
Ilya
actually
and
one of
the
the benefits of
Koreans.
this show. I think is the malleability of this show. This show can be a political
Amazing.
drama, or a
100%.
mafia drama, or a spy
Or
thriller in
straight
Russia.
science. You know what I'm saying? Like, no,
So,
stop, because we've actually hit all of those themes this
hmm
season
hmm
alone.
so,
As
but yeah,
spy.
I mean, Milosh has taken over Ilya. He's kicked him out, which is just, I mean, just
Awful.
incredible. He said, told him you're allowed to come back anytime you want. Okay.
I'm like,
Um.
damn. Spit on me instead. Spit on me instead.
Okay. Should we? Do you have any thoughts on that? Those two things before we move on to what I
No, I think
believe is
that's pretty
the main
much
part of
all I
this.
had for those thoughts. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get to the real
So
tea, child. Mm-hmm.
it's funny that with all the things in previous episodes talking about the conference and a leader is going for Helios and it's happening in Soviet Union, not once did it come to my head. I'm like, oh, Mongo is also in the Soviet Union. Like they might
When
cross paths.
they were setting it up, everything, I was like, yeah, but like, it didn't really occur to me because
Hmm
it didn't occur to me really until the day of the conference
Until
when
the cars were coming, I was like,
Margot
oh
was
wait, shit.
speaking. I said, hey, I was like, who's she looking for? Who's she looking for? Who's she looking for? A leader. I said,
So
hey,
you think she knew that leader was coming?
of course. I think she'd
Hmm.
heard. Somebody had told her that
Told
Alida
her.
was coming. So I was like, when I realized she was looking for somebody, I was like, me trying to look. I'm like, I don't see anybody of record here. And then we see Alida. She focuses on her. I was like, oh yeah, oh yeah. And I was like, anyways, but go on. Let's get into your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I mean, we can just go straight in.
Okay,
I think
I
there were
was
points at the beginning of the episode where I thought maybe the episode would end without them meeting each other, which I guess was kind of stupid. I don't know why I thought that. I thought it's where Margot just worked from behind the scenes throughout. But before we get to that,
saying
the Margot and a later scene, I want to start with the Margot and Irina scenes, but mostly just one scene. Firstly, though, this show doesn't really veer itself into like comedy bits most times, but I
mm-mm.
do think the whole sequence of like Margot saying
Margot
things
and
to Irina's ear
Irina
and she's
was
saying the wrong
fantastic.
thing,
Like
that was
I
so
was
funny.
literally there holding my breath and laughing. I'm like, please, can we be serious? I was like,
She's
the way she
like
recovered,
NASA
like
used Bart. I
language.
was like, who's Bart? I was like,
And they're like darts, and she's like, yeah, she's like, my English not so
English is
good.
not
I
good.
said bye. I said goodbye, and then when she was like, I think we should take a break. Yes,
Mhm.
let's take a break. Are
Mhm.
you hungry? Let's go eat. I was like, that's so real.
But yeah, I mean, they have a conversation in which Margot says that she wants to be front and center. She wants to be kind of like lead this thing. Irina claims that it's Margot's ambition. Margot claims that she just wants
To be seen. She's
to
tired
be
of hiding.
seen. She wants to do the work.
Mhm.
And Irina says she wants power, which I personally think the answer is probably somewhere in between.
Yeah,
But I thought it was interesting how both of those statements kind of reflects each character. Like Irina
yeah,
is the politician. Obviously, she would think it's power.
exactly.
And Margot wants to think it's the science. So it's
Science,
just like I
because
was like,
she's
oh,
a
that
scientist.
actually makes sense.
But it's definitely both for her. She wants to do the science and she wants to be useful, but she
Yeah,
also wants this
she was head of
ambition.
NASA. She was director of
Like, for
NASA.
God's sake, child. Imagine the head of NASA in real life getting caught in a scandal like this.
I mean,
Hello?
just living your life as a Russian, as a Canadian woman in Russia,
No,
just
but
like,
let's think about how perfect like that bombing was for her. Because had she
mm-hmm.
just disappeared without that bombing, people would be like, where did Margot go? What's going on? Da, 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 da. But that bombing was so perfect. Like people have thought for how many years now that she's been dead? Child.
I'm surprised. I know in the real world there would definitely be theories that like Russia did the bombing to cover
No,
up
stop, because I was
them.
thinking that, but I was like, we know it was completely independent of it, which it makes this even
Oh, we know,
funnier.
yes, but I'm surprised there are no conspiracy theories out there like,
Not
oh,
one
Russia
theory
did the
like, oh, they
bombing.
did this to smuggle her out. I'm
Mm.
surprised that wasn't one of the things that Alida said to her when they actually spoke, because I expected her to just be like, wait, like, first of all, let's talk about them meeting. I know lots of people will have a lot of speculation about what they thought that meeting was going to be like. I know Margot was expecting anger. this was expecting that, but I knew for Alida it would 100% be relief because
Mm.
that girl, she was like, did I cause this? She's like, I I spoke and now she's dead and she's gone. Everybody's dead and gone. But not to talk of her mentor who really helped her grow in this program, who gave her the opportunities that she has now. And yes, child, at the end of the day, she was lying to you and became the devil. But there was real love there. And she would have just loved to know that she was okay. And I think just seeing that she was okay, she was just like, oh my God, like, girl, I'm so happy to see you
That
here. And she's
scene
like,
got
wait a
me.
minute.
Both times I watched it, it hit me. Like her
Hard,
running to hug
hard,
Margot.
hard.
I think Coral Pena, who's the actor that plays Alida, I think they're
Beautiful lady.
so good in, yeah. I think
Like
they're
she's
so
so
good
good at
in this scene.
expressing emotion. Oh my
Hmm.
god. Alida's eyes are so expressive. Like her eyes are so expressive. Like when her eyes went like Margot, like wide, and then oh my god. And then she ran to her. I'm like, Alida, please stop. I'm like, you've literally been having PTSD like since this happened. And like just seeing her genuine like glee, joy, happiness, relief to see that Margot is okay is just it
Yeah, and I
felt nice.
think because I think this episode, I think this sequence, this whole Alida and Margot sequence, definitely took the episode up like 20% for me. And it
Mm-hmm.
goes to what you said earlier. You mentioned about the relationships on this show, and I think this is the first time that we're actually. So I think there are two relationships that have come back this season that have actually from previous seasons that have actually played a big part this season. Obviously, Danny
Yeah,
and Ed, but that is
100%.
very quickly souring.
Ah.
We
Oh,
might have a
already was
discussion
already
whether
sour for being real.
I don't think Ed is a racist, but I definitely think he's like
No, he's
prejudiced.
some
Like
kind of yeah. He's an
he still
elitist of
thinks
some.
she's the black hire,
Yeah, like she's the as they say diversity hire.
diversity
The
hire, yeah. Like he
the
mentioned it
master
last season,
aspect.
didn't he?
Yep, yep. He said it to her face, and the fact that he feels like he can say that to her face as her friend, like I just have to
Hmm.
tell you the truth, and that
So I
he
don't think he
actually
hates black
believes
people. I
that.
think he definitely feels like,
No, it's just his ego.
yeah.
It's
But
100% his
so
ego.
it's that one. And then obviously, like we said, lots of things like the Milosh things are all new things. And then even
Hmm.
the Aleda and Kelly thing, that's new.
Very, very new.
The
Yeah,
Aleda, Kelly and Dev thing, that's new.
100%
So
new.
I think it's that relationship. Because even when they see each other, when Ed and Daniel see each other, I can't remember episode two or something, or episode one, even. No, I think
Yeah,
it was episode two. Like you get this glee because I didn't hate Ed fully
yeah.
at that point. So you're like, oh,
No,
these
no, no,
are
no. You're
it's
just like,
like
oh my
hi
god, they're
Bob.
back together.
Yeah, it's hi
Exactly.
Bob.
Hi, Bob.
And I
Man,
think
like
now again, this is like with Aleda and Margot meetings again, is that relationship. These guys have known each other since season one. Yeah, I think.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So, and I think
And
again, it's like that kind of relationship at the heart of the show, and just their reactions. I think her reaction is so.
it's so moving.
So
Like it
yeah,
was
it's like
so moving. It was beautiful.
without spoiling anything, it reminded me a bit of Invincible, but I wouldn't spoil for anyone who's not up
Hmm.
to date.
Hmm.
Um,
Me, oh, I'm stacking my phone. Please keep
have you
keep
watched
keep thy
season
mouth
one?
closed. Oh no, 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 no. As in like I'm watching this season, but I've only watched the first two episodes. I've decided to
Oh,
relax for a little bit for my peace. But no, I totally feel that. And I feel like Alida and Margot, I really thought Alida was going to clock her when Irina said we just have to work the problem. Like see the way she looked at her when she said that.
yeah,
She
but
was
that's the
like,
thing. The thing is like it's impossible to think
yeah,
that
there's no way she'd have thought that because she to her, Margot is dead, but she just be like, huh,
because
that's
I
weird. Maybe
think
thinking
I,
this
I
guy
had that idea
rapey.
too. I think she thought, okay, you know what? You guys like controlled Margot so much that like some of her mannerisms rubbed off on you guys
Exactly. Plus, that was
because you.
another aspect I thought because she knew Margot was already involved with the
Hmm.
Russians, Had she not
Hmm.
known at all, I'd be like, yeah, no way she could make that connection. But she's like, that babe was really a spy.
Yeah,
Mm-mm-mm.
you guys stole that
Which
as
is,
well. And then
girl,
like they have this deep conversation. Great, I'm gonna watch that scene again once we finish
yep,
this. Like, Aleda basically names everyone that died. Margot
yeah,
kind of implies that she's been suicidal at points, or
she
at least would
does.
have wanted to go down with the ship because she said that she wishes she was at
Exactly.
her post.
Yeah, she wishes she was there instead because she would have been there and just died. And that would have been better for her, I think. If she had died at that point, still a hero.
Oh yeah. So
PTC.
you feel like, oh, these things have kind of crossed her mind. Um, yeah, my later is like, why do you think I'll do this with you? Like, and then obviously Margot does the whole thing of,
She's like, I know you, you're a
yeah,
scientist.
this is gonna bug you, and you're gonna want to figure this out and
Exactly, which
everything.
is the truth. And but the
Hmm.
thing is, Alita is also so right. Like they were. so many points in that Margot could have made a different decision. And yes, I know that like lives were at stake, like real lives were at stake, right? But if she really thinks about it, at the end of the day, that wasn't her responsibility. She was out here starting a fresh relationship with a man with a family. Like, where was this going?
Hmm. Oh yeah, I forgot
Where
he was married when they met,
he was married, and
but
like
nothing happened till he was
nothing
divorced.
happened till he was divorced. But the thing is, like, the entire thing that moved her here was love. And it's like
Hmm.
just to show you again, if there's one thing that will lead to your downfall, guys, it is entangling yourself with a man.
Okay, so just to
And you do not
confirm,
believe
is
that.
it love or greed? Which one is the downfall of man?
I would say
Because
both. The downfall of man is definitely greed. As a man, no, is greed.
oh, as a
As a
man, okay.
woman, is definitely love. Because yeah,
Ah,
women are
yeah, yeah.
greedy for sure. But one place
Feel
where I would
like I feel
say
like that's falling into stereotypes.
it's very stereotypical to say, but you can see it in the show happening in real time. I'm speaking as for all mankind, as what they are showing us on the screen. The men every time with Karen Edu, with Tracy Godo.
Oh,
Do I need to keep
speaking of,
going?
speaking of people I miss, Tracy and Gordo, I miss those
So
guys.
bad. I'm sorry. You know, I told you that I had to rewatch like the finale of season 2 again just to see that
Yeah,
scene of them. Like
or dying in arms or like
that was real TV, guys. Like I don't think I'm trying to think of where we will eclipse that. Not many scenes have.
two. Well, they were not good, but like two good parents and two terrible children. Oh my god,
Oh my, I
the
don't
way
even know
I
what to say
hated the
about them
Stevens
again. I
children.
said watching that season 3, I was just opening my mouth like, God in heaven, where did they go wrong?
I think I mean, sorry, but this is going way off. Well, literally going 2 seasons back. But
Yeah,
the trace the Danny Stevens and Karen relationship was the first plot line that I actively hated on the show. Like I was like, can we stop this? Can we
I was
stop
like,
doing
what?
this?
No, literally. You know the thing is like, I had even somehow erased this from my mind banking because we skipped that for a while, right?
Hmm.
Come season 3, I'm like, wait a minute. I had literally forgotten. And I'm gonna lie, right? First thing I'm seeing is like, oh, why the fuck are they bringing back this storyline? Like, I had literally repressed it so deep because I was like, I can't believe they're putting this bullshit on my screens. Her fucking best friend's child. Are you kidding me?
It's funny. You know, it's so funny because you put it like that. But you know how it was in my head every time? It
What?
was your dead son's best friend. Let's not like your dead son's best friend, man.
Not
That's how it
even
was in my
had
head.
that aspect, right? Her dead son's best friend. She is
Like,
grooming her dead son's best
if
friend. And on top of that, you see in the whole show, Karen is portrayed as an angel.
hmm
Karen is an
hmm
angel. She truly is a good person to all those who do know her. But, like I say with complex characters on the shows, look at her life. She
Oh,
wanted a
Chantel,
one time, oh,
speaking of
she just
face
wanted to,
cards.
girl.
Um, but yeah, I mean, we not mentioned, we find out in this season that Danny killed himself. On
And how he killed himself, which
how did
that
he kill
was
himself?
actually
Because
sad.
was
I
his
mean, well,
helmet
we don't
down?
know. Yeah, his helmet was that. I don't know how he actually killed himself, but we know he was sitting. Like, I don't know if he
Yeah,
decided
because I
to
thought he
stab
was gonna
himself
shoot
to death
himself with Lee's
or
gun,
something. You know
but
what I'm saying?
that
But
didn't
I feel
happen.
like he must have maybe put a hole in his suit or something. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
It
mean,
was sad.
at least we're done with that storyline, please.
Man,
Um,
I'm so happy. But to see how much sacrifice again Danielle was putting towards this boy, child.
yeah, that's the real cursed family. Was she giving him her food?
Her meals, she was giving him part of her rations.
That's
Like she
like,
was literally starving herself on top of the starvation happening just to make sure this boy is surviving.
and
Because yeah,
Ed knew that, and he still said what he
like
said. Like Ed,
Ed,
despicable
like
human
he's
being this season.
no. The thing is, like we've always seen this character of Ed. They always show us every season. Ed has his moments where he just does some shit, and you're just like, can you literally just get a grip for 2 seconds? But you know, every other aspect of him is absolutely mostly redeemable, or at least you know. It's enough of a dichotomy that's like, you know what, that's a fair human being. Like he's just a human being, but for the
Yeah,
most part, he tries his best, you know. But this season, oh God, I have been praying for his death since he started. I'm
I
like,
think
I need to go.
I think it's because he's not got to do anything like
He's unfulfilled
heroic.
in
He hasn't
his
done
life.
any, and I think that works both for the character and for us, the audience. Like we haven't seen
Yeah.
him do any space like
He
heroics,
hasn't
like
won anything.
yeah, like
Yeah.
maneuver some space journey or whatever. So all we're just seeing is like
And
real
you know
Ed,
what
human
makes
Ed, which is like ugh.
even worse is because we respect him so much as an astronaut. Thank you for reminding me. We respect him so much for an astronaut, and yet he has the audacity to be putting lives at risk without his shaking hand to come at me
Mm-hmm.
saying, "Oh, let's stop the test. Let's stop the test." Like, are you kidding me? Like your
Yeah,
subordinate who respects you so much had to come to you. and say, boss, I wish I didn't see this. So, but unfortunately, lives are really at stake, and still you are indignant. Hi.
Yeah, he's gonna. Boy, I mean, he's gonna get a hero's death or ending or whatever.
He'll probably get a hero's death,
So
but
I
this is to
hope,
me,
I hope by that point, like the show has earned it. Like I hope the show doesn't like
he has
make us,
earned some goodwill
yes,
back.
make us hate him and then just give him a
Yeah,
hero's death because like
yeah,
unless the show
because
doesn't know what they're doing, which I don't think that's true. I think they
I
have to
doubt
know
it.
that
They're so
they
well
have to know
thought
that
out.
he's because even the way Joe Kinnaman is playing him away is a bit too
It's
cocky.
so nonchalant. It's really so nonchalant. Like,
Like the
damn,
way
like,
when he's walking to Ilya's bar and he's
babe,
like
the way
tapping
he's
everybody and
acting,
niggas are like,
say yeah, just
What?
keep
Why
it
is this guy
coming.
touching me? Like,
Oh
why
my
is
god.
why is former
Oh
EXO
my
touching me?
god. Like, this is actually
So
the definition of going outside. Like, truly, what watching it
you
happen in
can't be
real
a
time.
70-year-old man still flying
Like,
spaceships,
bro,
man.
go back to Earth. Like, what are you looking for? Like, you've been on Mars for how long now? Like, what is there on Mars? Like, truly tell me. There's nothing, no grass, no sand, nothing, no beach. Nothing.
At least last
Nothing.
season was like, oh, he's going from moon to Mars. Now you're like, well, like, just anyway, he's
And
been
last
there.
season hurt me. I won't lie. I really, 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 really wanted this win for him. Like, at the end of the day, it's like, yes, I wanted Danielle to win because she black and she's that bitch. And yeah.
Yeah.
But like I just felt like, if Ed didn't get this win, he was going to
After the
somehow
moon.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was gonna snap. Like, there's not many opportunities. And like even with this asteroid now, he can't even do fuck all. His hand shaking. Like he's actually literally useless.
Hmm.
Well,
But
not
even like
technically.
yeah, just back to your point. Like, I think that's something he doesn't get Mars, but I can't remember what he does. He does something to like, he does the good thing. I mean, there's a point where he's trying to save some astronauts and like Dev locks them
Yeah.
out of Helios. So like, at
Yeah.
this point, like his indignation was for the quote unquote greater good, and it was the more
Yeah.
heroic thing. Now, I just like,
Period.
can you just stop being you and just
Like, are
like
you actually? I literally just want to say, how they locked Danny up? I just wanted them to lock him up in his room and stay there. You're on room arrest
smoke his weed?
till like smoke your weed. Like look at all the things. Like I just don't like. Can we speak? Can we speak truthfully? Let's speak truthfully. Ed needs to go home. If I was, you see how the Russians recall their babe, they need to take
Yeah,
Ed back too. I don't know how they do it, but they have to do it. I'm
but I
sorry.
mean,
He
he's
can
a
remain
hero.
here. He's a hero, but like, yeah, the thing is, he's a hero, but he doesn't feel like one, which is the problem. He doesn't feel like a hero because to him, he hasn't actually really accomplished anything tangible. Everything he's done is forgettable in his mind.
Mm,
Meanwhile, he's done amazing things. Like, yes, they haven't been the biggest, like the milestones, but it's like he assisted all those milestones. He was there pushing those milestones to happen, and he did hella heroic shit to get those shit to happen. So I'm just like, he needs to be satisfied, and I feel like he's not satisfied with his life, and it's too late for him to change that man. He's 70. He needs to go home, see his grandson, like something.
70 is insane, man. I'm gonna work on about advancements they've had in medicine.
You know what I'm saying? Because usually you retire at 65. So I'm like, why is this man still in space at
It was
70?
so funny, like in that montage at the beginning when you see him like doing push-ups, and you're like, oh, this is like okay, fair enough.
This is
At least the show knows he's old. Like the show is not like
they're
he's
not
doing like
hiding it like, oh, he's still like, Sylvester Stallone or like fucking
exactly.
Arnold
The show is like
Schwarzenegger.
this guy is doing knee push-ups. Like this guy is not he should not be here.
He needs to go. Like he needs to get recalled. I don't know, like a Barbie. Take that model
Like,
out.
Jesus. Okay, what like the one that had the TV in her back? It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yo,
this doesn't
child.
work.
Anything that
Okay.
didn't work. Like they recalled
Uh,
Alan
uh,
actually.
any final thoughts before I wrap up?
Final thoughts. I am excited to see the full outcome after Margot's announcement.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that we didn't talk about that, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, like the reading of her statements, like her prepared statement. I love that they said it to themselves, like, "Oh, she's reading a prepared statement," but still, it's
mhm,
just Russians are so funny. Like the audacity, my god, they trapped this babe into a goddamn being a spy, and they're like, "Yeah, she was unsatisfied with the country, with the government, with NASA." It's just, mind you, she was instrumental in bringing about a lot of the changes at NASA that were pissing
mhm,
people off. So, like, let's not even get into the hypocrisy of that. But I'm excited to see how this like pushes forward because now, since she's technically free,
mhm.
like I wonder if she'll be attending more things like in person. Will she see her old
Well, yeah, I think
hero
now she's gonna be the
after
face of
NASA
the USSR space
cosmos? Yeah.
thingy. Yeah,
But like, will she go back to the Molly Cobbs space sensor now? Like, how's that going to be? I'd be very excited to see that and how she's received as well.
I mean, there's only one way she can be received:
Oh, baby, it's gonna be bad.
utter disgust and hatred.
It's gonna be bad, 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 bad. But you know one thing about Margot, she's a strong ass bitch.
Yeah.
That's a tough cookie. But
So
yeah,
Marco has just been Marco hasn't had love in her life.
maybe her one flirtation led her into being a spy. I too would stop loving. Quite
Like, fair, fair. I wonder if he's still alive.
me too. Because I was like, ain't no way the Russian just let that man go to Germany and be happy, child. I know they found him.
Uh, uh,
But the thing is,
anyway.
she tried her best as long as she can die knowing that to her it was
Well,
worth
I
it.
mean, it then goes like this is not a discussion for today, or because that's a whole another 30 minutes. But like, did she do the right thing? Because she claims she did the right thing. She did what was good and everything. But like, should she have just gone to the FBI from the beginning?
That's what I'm saying. I bring him back to a leader's point. She could have made
Mm-hmm.
so many decisions differently. But she was like, and the thing is, when they even told her, she wasn't even in too deep at all. She wasn't even in deep, really.
Well, I think she had shared some stuff with him, like
Yeah, she
through.
said some plans, but like she hadn't really done anything crazy, 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 crazy. Like
Mm,
he was asking her for real crazy, crazy, crazy stuff, and she was like, "Nah, I'm not telling you that." Now, so
yeah,
they come
I
into
guess she
our
would have
room
definitely
and
lost
you're
her
being
job and
messy.
probably done a
She
few
would have
years in
lost her
prison.
job, probably, most likely, but like at least she wouldn't have been known as a spy. Like she literally could have wrapped up that up immediately. Like yes, it would have been the end of her career at NASA, but as you've seen with Polaris, Helios, like there's other places for her to be.
Fair, fair. She could have gone private. That's true.
She could have even been a pianist. You know what she was saying, on her little piano. Like, damn.
Fair. I'm sure next week we'll get more Dev, more Kelly,
Yeah, more Alita. That's my
more
girl,
leader.
if you can't tell.
Um,
And hopefully less Ed. Ugh.
that's not possible. Ed is the guy. Ed is the guy for this show. We're never getting Let's Ed. Just
but,
hopefully, I don't know, he can
but this is
find
like
his.
episode
Maybe he just needs
7.
to find his purpose and then he can revamp his
Yeah,
character.
that's the thing. He needs a
So
purpose. And
hopefully he
that's
finds that
really,
purpose.
really what is missing. He does not have a direction in his life. And you know what? For most, this will be retiring, vacationing, chilling. He doesn't know what those
Spending
things
time with
mean.
your grandson.
No, literally everything to him is dead. Like his wife is dead, his son
Hmm.
is dead, his daughter is in Earth, his grandson is on Earth. Like he don't care about Earth. Like as far as I'm concerned, everybody cares about is irrelevant.
Hmm.
So I need him. He needs a life coach. I think.
Just a life coach at 70. Don't kill me.
No, I'm serious. Like I truly. Sometimes you just need a little point help in the right direction. Truly.
Anyway, but yeah, no, I think like I said, you and I will be back next week.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure about 8 and 9, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, this was fun. This was great, Angel. Thank you for agreeing to do it.
Thank you so much for having
Thank,
me. I
thank you for
love to
being
star.
thank, thank you for being one other person that watches For All Mankind.
No, you don't know how
Um,
happy I was when I saw your tweets. I was like, oh my God, somebody to talk to about this show. Because I've literally been shouting for all mankind down my friends, like my friend, my roommate. I've been
mhm,
shoving it down her throat for years now. And she's like, oh, this one that you're mentioning it again, you're back on it. I'm like, girl, I'm telling you,
you're
please
back.
watch it.
It's funny because I knew just because of scheduling thing, I knew Ayo was coming to do the like pitch episode that we put out last week,
Hmm.
and then he was doing the finale, but just couldn't work out in between.
The
So I
other,
would
yeah.
randomly tweet things about For All Mankind just to see if anybody I knew would like if just who was going to respond to this. And then I think you finally responded like after my fourth. I was like, oh, there is one person that watches this show. Like, oh, okay, let's figure out if we can do something about it.
No, I love it. I
Anyway,
love it. But thank you so
Anyway,
much for
but yeah,
having
thanks very
me.
much. We'll be back next week talking more for all mankind. Please, if you listen this far, please rate and review on all podcast platforms. That really helps us. Please share with if you know anyone that watches for mankind, please share. Please share this episode with them. And yeah, join us next week when we'll be joined by Oscar winner Daniel Kaluuya. Bye,
Oh my
guys.